If you were watching the 3-9 video, that means Quick Quiz 2 is coming up. It's me, Miss Billman, and let's go ahead and try to figure out this iPad. So, 1.32 plus 2.8. When we're adding or subtracting decimals, we need to line up the decimal. So I put a pretend 0 as my placeholder, and I add 2 plus 0 is 2, 8 plus 3 is 11, carry the 1, 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Bring my decimal down with a final answer of 4.12, or 4 12/100ths. Number 2, 9 1/2 minus 5 2/3. Now, this one I'm going to focus on the fractions. 1/2 is equal to an equivalent fraction, and 2/3, we're going to find the equivalent fractions with the least common multiple, which is 6. Because I know 2, 4, 6, and 3, 6, 9. Multiply the 2 by 3, the 1 by 3, and I get 3/6. And multiply the 3 by 2, the 2 by 2, and get 4. I'm going to rewrite it, 9 3/6 minus 5 4/6. Now I'm going to do some regrouping with my whole number. When I have my whole number, that's like saying I have a full pizza with 6 slices, and I'm going to borrow and I'm going to add it to my numerator. So 8 9/6 minus 5 4/6, and I get an answer of 3 5/6. If you did it in an improper fraction and you simplify down to 3 5/6, you could also do that too. Number 3, 3 1/4 minus 1 11/12. So I know that between 4 and 12, the least common multiple is 12. So 3 3/12 minus 1 11/12. And you see, now I'm gonna try and figure out the eraser on here. I'm slowly but surely figuring this iPad out. So I'm going to borrow from the 3, make that a 2, and I'm going to add the 12 to my numerator. So 2 15/12 minus 1 11/12. That is equal to 1 4/12. And I could leave it that way, or I could simplify into 1 1/3. Either way, you know, this doesn't say simplify on here. It's good to check it, like get your answer of 1 4/12 or your answer that was an improper fraction. Now, you can totally notice I'm still, you know, have like a learner's permit with this iPad, so there's some lines everywhere. 2/3 is equal to, we're finding the equivalent fractions in 5/7. This is going to be 21. Because I know 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, and 7 is 7, 14, 21. That's the least common multiple, the lowest one, and it is the new denominator for these equivalent fractions. So I set it as 21, and I'm going to multiply the 3 by 7 and the 7 by 3. So I do the same things to their denominators, and I get 14 21st, or 14 over 21, plus 1 15 20/21, or 21st. So when I add straight through, I have 1 29 21st. Now I wouldn't say 21st. Ugh, that sounds weird. So I can leave it at this 1 29 21st, or I can make it even smaller and simplify with a 2 8 21st. Okay, now this number 5, I can't believe I'm admitting this, but I did have a computational error on my part. So 2.7, and I'm going to minus and subtract 0.82. Now I'm going to put a 0 where there's a placeholder, and I'm going to borrow from the 7, make it a 6, and my 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8, and this is where you see what I'm doing. My 2 becomes a 1. I bring it to the 16. I do 16 minus 8 is 6. It is not 6. It should say 8. So the correct answer should be 1.88. Miss Billman, that will haunt me for... No, it won't haunt me, okay. Well, I will learn from that mistake. So 3/8 plus 2, or 3/8 plus 3/10, common denominator of 40, because it has to end in a 0. And then you see I'm slowly trying to figure out how to use this. I'm like, what? What's happening? I'm figuring it out. So I multiply my denominator by 4 for the 10, and the 8 is 5. And I go through, I have 4 and 15/40ths, and I add 2 and 12/40ths, add straight across, 6 and 29/40ths. 29 is one of those numbers where you think, or in this case 27, oh my gosh, 27, but it is one of those numbers where I think, oh, well, I could put 3 in it, right? But 3 doesn't quite go into our 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, and it goes 33, 36, 39, doesn't do 40. But it's kind of deceiving. So my 11 and 5 are 55. I multiply the 11 by 5 and the 5 by 11. So they kind of have like a mutual friendship. So 6 multiplied by 5 is 30, and 5 multiplied by 11 is 55. So 1 multiplied by 11 is 11. 30 55ths minus 11 55ths is equal to 19 55ths. That's a crazy number. 19 55ths of something. So now I have number 8, and it is 5.13 plus 2.8. I put my 0, or I could just bring my 3 down. 8 plus 1 is 9, bring my decimal, and 5 plus 2 is 7. I'm going to focus on the fraction, 4/5 and 3/10. Common denominator is 10. So my 3/10 stays the same, and my 4/10, the equivalent would be 8/10. 1 and 8/10 plus 3/10 is 1 and 11/10. Or I could also write 2 and 1/10. It's always fun to simplify, but again, on the quiz that you'll probably be taking if you're watching this video, if you're in Miss Billman's class, always circle whatever answer that you like. Yes, this is my final answer, but it's always good to try and simplify. My 3/8 stays the same because the least common multiple would be 8. So I multiply by 4. 2 and 4/8 minus 3/8. That is equal to 2 and 1/8. Number 11, 2.18 minus 1.3. I have my 0. 8 minus 0 is 8. I got to borrow from the 2. It becomes an 11. 8 and 0. So 0.88. 2 and 3/4 plus 5/7. 5 and 7/10. Hey, 3/4 and 7/10. Common denominator of 20. That's the least common multiple. So I multiply the 10 by 2, and I multiply the 4 by 5. So 3/4 is equivalent to 15/20, and 7/10 is equivalent to 14/20. So 2 and 15/20. And I add 5 and 14/20. I get an answer of 7 and 29/20. Or I could simplify into 8 and I have 9. Whew, 9/20. My final answer. So for the rest of these, it's a greater than, less than, no equal to. So that's like saying 180 or $1.08. So 2/3 and 3/5, I need to find a common denominator. And you'd be really surprised that the fractions like this, they're actually really close. That's why it's important to find a common denominator. In this case, it's 15. 2 multiplied by 5 is 10. 5 multiplied by 3 is 15. 3 multiplied by 3 is 9. So 10 15ths is greater than 9/15ths. And you can actually see how close 2/3 and 3/5 is when you look at it and you're like, yeah, 2/3, that seems like a lot. Well, they're actually a lot closer than they appear. So 1 and 12/7 and 1 and 5/8, my 12, oh my gosh, 7/12. Oh man, okay, so I multiply by 2 because my common denominator for this is 24, so 1 and 14/24 versus 5/8 becomes equivalent to 15/24, so 1 and 14/24 versus 1 and 15/24. So just barely big enough. Oof, so small. All right, 2/3 versus 8/9. 2/3, I know my common denominator is 9. I multiply and I get 6/9. So 3 and 6/9 versus 3 and 8/9. The 3 and 8/9 is greater. So this is 14/100 or 41/100. It's like saying 14 cents versus 41 cents. And that is showing us that 41 cents is greater. 2/5 versus 1/10. 2/5 is equal to how many tenths? It's equal to 4/10. So 4/10 is greater than 1/10. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I can't believe my computational error. I'll have to be thinking about that all night. But good luck on the quiz. You got this. I believe in you.